All right. So thank you, everybody. Welcome to this information session for the Energy Storage Engine. We're going to have a little bit of a twist here, which is this information session is going to be mostly focused on the products that we're building at our energy storage engine. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Fernando Gomez Vaquero. I'm the director of the translation pillar for the NSF Energy Storage Engine in Upstate New York. In this engine, we are here so that we can help you build better and bigger companies on energy storage, right? For those of you that don't know, or maybe you know this, but it's always good to give you a little bit of an update. The NSF Engines is a program that is supported by the National Science Foundation. The initial inaugural awards that the National Science Foundation did was for 10 engines all over the country. Nowadays is 9 engines. One of those engines, unfortunately, did not continue. But this program was started 2 years ago. 10 engines were awarded in different topics. So some of those topics were fuel, regenerative medicine, water, resources. And here in Upstate New York, we focus on energy storage and batteries specifically, right? So we are one of those. Interestingly enough, for everybody that also is thinking about this, this was actually in the budget that is right now in Congress. This program has funding, so yay us, right? So we have funding on that budget. We did not get caught. National Science Foundation in general got very little cut from 9.1 billion to 8.75 billion. So we hope that gets authorized. But at this point in time, this program is going to continue. The program was launched in February of 2024. It's a coalition of about 40 industry, academic, and community partners all over the upstate New York. Right? So we span the Western, Finger Lakes, Central, and Southern tier of New York. We have about 160 million for our engine alone over the period of 10 years to deploy in projects in energy storage. We do have also some matching funds from ESD, from New York State, an additional 10%, so another 16 million. And we have some other complementary investment that came from programs such as Tech Hubs and Build Back Better, right? So those programs might not get renewed, but the NSF Engines program will continue to grow. And as I said, is right now in the process of being authorized, full on budget in Congress. Our mission, simple, is batteries for America, by America, made in America, right? So we want the batteries industry to come here and be in America. We want to make sure that we transform Upstate New York into America's battery tech capital. There's a lot of great things. A lot of you already know this because you are the ones building it. So thank you. You're the ones that are actually building all of these work. But we are also a very good group of universities that are coming together and making sure that you have the right resources. If you don't know these people, please connect to any of us. Our CEO, Mira Sampath, which is at Binghamton University, is the CEO of the engine. We have our CEO, Heidi, who has a lot of experience working in lithium-ion batteries as well as with Corning. Our chief CIO and Use Inspire R&D pillar lead is Stan Whittingham, who is our Nobel Prize-winning chemist. Myself, I lead the translation part of the engine. We have Myra, who leads our regional economic engagement, Tim Thomas, which leads our academic offerings, and Matt Ganter, who leads our infrastructure side of things. So please connect to all of us or any of us, and we're happy to always direct you to the right point so that you can work with our engine. And generally, if you want to do anything related to R&D and translation, that's one pillar that we have. In the next few years, we'll put a lot of effort into the translation and commercialization part of things. So not just R&D, right? Our goal is to commercialize technologies, get you customers. We'll also put a lot of effort into education and workforce development. And we are adding a lot of the money that is going to come for the next few years on test beds. So you're going to get more equipment to actually be able to produce electrodes, produce materials, characterize those materials, do safety testing of those materials, build cells, build packs. That's another thing that we're putting a lot of effort to. Now, making sure that you can also build packs and build systems. So it's not just test beds. So please connect to other of our information sessions on Fully the Engine, and we'll continue to give you some updates on what that's happening. I think today the main update that I have to give to you, which is a good update, is the budget has not been proposed to be cut. It's right now in Congress, and we expect full authorization to happen so that we continue for the next 3 years, which makes us very happy. Now, we're here to focus on tools that last year we started and we built to help you as a startup or as an academic reach commercialization faster. So we are very aware that sometimes you don't have all of the right tools to make sure that you understand how to create your supply chain, or how to understand risk, or maybe how to find collaborators. So last couple of years, we developed a couple of tools which are available to you, and we'll continue to figure out tools that are going to be useful for our ecosystem so that you can accelerate your work. So we're going to talk about a couple of tools that are part of our commercialization help that we do. Yes, we're also going to have some commercialization help through grants. And please, I know that some of you are already connecting with us on that. I won't talk about those programs right now, but we will continue to do Mega Boost and Super Boost programs. So continue to work with us. But as part of what we're doing, we're purposely building these commercialization tools so that we can give you more benefit. Okay, so let's get started, and we'll show you these tools. The first tool is called Guardian. So what is Guardian? We recognize that one of the things that is very important when we say batteries made in America for American is that we are able to understand your supply chain, right? So we cannot say the battery is made in America if the original material is coming from China, right? We cannot say that battery is made in America if we take a look at the components of a battery and then we say, I don't know where the tabs came from. I don't know where the copper came from. I don't know where the aluminum came from. So all of these things are very important for you to try to understand. And when we were looking at the topic of supply chain and assessment and making sure that we could actually go and put money and resources into improving our national supply chain, we first said we need to do some assessment, and we need the companies to also do some assessment of the supply chain that they have and the risks that they have. And this was the genesis of this project. So what we did was we engaged with MITRE Corporation, and MITRE works very closely with the military, with the Department of Defense, nowadays called the Department of War, works very close with the military to make sure that there are tools deployed and assessment on the supply chain and the origins of all of these materials. And we developed this software tool called Guardian, which basically is a set of questions that you can answer that will start guiding you at understanding your own supply chain. Now, we made two separate parts of it. One for companies that are lower TRL, so TRL 3 to 5. Why did we do this? Because we understand that it's very different for a startup company that is trying to understand their supply chain from a company that already has a fully uncommercialized tool, might have more resources, might be able to have different types of vendors and maybe have redundancy in their systems, right? So those are the companies that are TRL 6, 7, 8, maybe 9. So that is one set of companies. And what you need there is a risk assessment that helps you have more redundancy and understand how to cut some of those ties. For startup companies, what you need more is forecasting. Is what are the things that I need to figure out in the future so that I can be secure in my supply chain. So we developed this tool in collaboration with MITRE. This tool was highlighted actually in a meeting that we had at the Army Navy Battery Day in August of last year. Eric Shields, who is instrumental driver of battery technologies at the Department of Defense, was there saying, this is exactly the right type of tools that we need so that we as the Army and the Navy and Special Command Forces can understand what to buy and from whom to buy as well. So this will help you make that assessment, right? So it really empowers you to identify those vulnerabilities that you have, to build more resilient operations, but it's also trying to meet you what you are, because we know that a very early stage startup probably does not have all of the things that you need to make it resilient. So the output of this tool is going to be a set of guidelines and resources that you can use, and even a checklist so that you can understand what are the next steps that you need, right? So if you're a startup, use this tool so that you can understand and mitigate your supply chain risks right? We already have some startups in beta testing of it. And what they told us is that they recognize that this opened their eyes to some things that they were not thinking of. And that's great, right? What we want you to do is, um, what we want to make sure is that this really helps you understand that future risk. If you're an established company, we would hope that you will use this tool to evaluate your current suppliers, understand what are you dependent of, what are the things that if they get caught, you're basically, in a bad position. What are your vulnerabilities there, and what are some commercial viabilities that you have, and things that you can change of so that you can start building more of your national supply chain, right, or US based supply chain, or at least more friendly supply chain, right? So, and when I say more friendly, it's a little bit less away from China. If you're a government agency, this can really help you understand if you're going to engage with a company. And again, DoD is going to take a look at startup companies. So this might be used by DoD to assess national security implication, particularly in the defense sector, and to assess maybe even get an idea if the companies that are bidding for these type of contracts are actually companies that are in compliance to what the military wants. And if you're an investor or you're pitching to investors, this is also a good tool so that you can either show on your due diligence that you've done the right set of assessment of your supply chain, or for your investor, if the thesis of that investor is investing in companies that are US based supply chain, to understand that, yeah, you are compliant with that. Um, um, with that, exactly. So how does it work? You have this vulnerability analysis. So it's an assessment. It's a set of questions that get asked to you, and then you answer. You get some mitigation recommendations, depending, and this is dynamic. So depending on what is it that you answer, you would get some recommendations for mitigation of your supply chain risk. Then you get a security assessment of it, analyzing your foreign dependencies, and then you get a little bit of business intelligence to make sure that where are you relative to other competitors, and assess how stressed you would be if there would be some disruption in your supply chain. So I think I'll give now Candice the sharing of the screen. If you can real time actually share us the tool and share us a little bit how it works.
Yeah, great. Hi, everyone. I'm Candice Reeves, the program coordinator for the NSF Energy Storage Engine, specifically for the translation pillar. Great to see you all here today. So I will give a quick demo of what Fernando just reviewed. I assume you all can see my screen just fine. So you can navigate to this tool from our website, the upstatenyengine.org, that I know my colleague Clara put the URL in the chat. And by using the nav bar, find this news and tools and drop down to this supply chain risk assessment tool, which will bring you to our Guardian tool. Has some information here that Fernando just covered. And if you scroll down, you'll see the tool here. So again, this is divided into TRL. So for example, we can select TRL 3 to 5 and advance to tool. With our questions here on the left-hand side, a series of questions, I believe it's 1 through 12. We can select whichever answer is most relevant for your business or for your technology. So I will go through here and randomly select for purposes of this demo. And you'll see on the right-hand side, as I do, the recommendations are realigning themselves to be the best recommendations based on my answers. And once I select all of the answers, you'll see that I can download the recommendations here. So if I download these recommendations, I can take a look at what the tool is recommending specifically for what I answered. So here you'll see these recommendations. They align exactly with the recommendations in the actual tool. In these recommendations, we provide both a justification, but also one feature is providing these actions in a checklist type format. So by downloading these recommendations, you aren't losing this wealth of information once you leave our website, and you can take action on them as you see fit or as you are able to for your particular business. In these recommendations also, there's a ton of resources that we link to for you to peruse as makes sense for you. And let me see if there's anything else It's free to use, so it's available to all from our website. I'll go quickly to the TRL 6 through 9, which operates exactly the same, just that the questions and the responses that you can select are slightly different, of course. How does your organization track the flow of materials and components to your supply chain? We do not track suppliers and components. And we ask that you just select the answer that is most appropriate or most aligned with your technology/your business.
Yeah, so I hope that you go and already click there and start working with it and toying with it, right? So you can change the responses. You can be very thoughtful about the responses that you give, and you'll see how this is doing a kind of a stratification and trying to give you the best recommendations at the top. But at the end, you'll get all the recommendations, and you can see them all, and you can see all of the action items. One thing that we'll continue to do with MITRE is we'll continue to make sure that those initial recommendations also link to other useful tools, right? So there are other useful tools that whether it's in federal government agencies or in academic settings, or that MITRE has actually even developed on their own. So we want to make sure that we give you the links so that you can understand other tools and other places where you can find information. So we're not saying that we know everything and that this is going to be everything embedded into it. We'll continue to revise it so that this can gives you a good checklist, but also send you to other places where you can find great information on your supply chain. Conversely, if you see that there's something that would be very interesting and you're saying, hey, you're missing a particular assessment tool or you're missing something, please tell us, right? More than happy to come back, add it to the tool, make sure that it's there. So the more that we share and the more that we add to this, the better, right? So this tool gets better with more usage from any of you. So that is our supply chain risk assessment tool called Guardian, right? So we want this tool. We called it Guardian because we wanted to guard you from the threats of some bad actors and the threats of supply chain risk disruptions, particularly from China, that we know that it will come. So if you have any questions, please put them here in the chat, and we can address them at the end of this. All right. So let's go to the second tool that we developed. The second tool that we developed for you is a little bit of a revamp of a tool that maybe some of you already use. But some of you might know that New York Best has on their website something called the Energy Storage Supply Chain and Ecosystem Resource Database. So this database has always been the place where you can go and find distributors, manufacturers, companies that are building batteries. You could find a little bit of infrastructure partners. But in the past year, we really made an effort to enhancing it. So we got together with the Kaufman Incubator, with New York Energy New York, with New York Best. We went to every single university asking also for information on research groups, on academics that would have labs available, on characterization tools, on fabrication tools. So we really enhanced this database as much as we could. And so now on this database, you will find more than just a list of companies, right? So what we wanted it to be was a place where you would have all of this information to empower you to thrive in this competitive market, connect to manufacturers, connect to suppliers, connect to service providers. So really be the place where you can find all of this information about this sector. As you navigate through it, we want you to go and explore categories, because it's not just material suppliers. So it's not just battery manufacturers, right? So we have materials, testing equipment, academic resources. You can search by location. You can search by product type. You can search certifications as well. So there's some filters that really help you do that. We are also going to add, and we continue to add, a lot of businesses that are ready to support your projects too. We're going to add small businesses that might be service businesses as well. So even businesses that are related to certification, to maybe like SOC 2 compliance, which is important, or to data management. We want to add legal services as well. So you'll start finding more information on service providers too. And we want this to be a place where you can start your journey of building relationships and connecting with partners in a New York energy storage ecosystem. We also have companies that are not just from New York. We have companies from everywhere, but we are definitely more focused on New York. So right now, if you are a supplier or if you're a manufacturer or if you're a service provider, you can find people here that you can either sell to or connect to. If you're a large corporation, you can find those other ones, suppliers and manufacturers. You can find startups as well. If you're an academic, you will find a lot of those companies that can be your collaborators or where you can do projects or even your customers at the end of the day. And if you are a company or a startup, you can find a lot of collaborators. And I think this was the biggest change that we did from last year, is that we added a lot of detail on academic collaborators and on the equipment that those academic collaborators have as well. Of course, we asked them for permission to put this information here, right? So we're not just scraping this information. But that means also that if you connect with any of these academic collaborators, you know that they are open and willing to listen and to collaborate with you. So, and that's exactly the type of connection that we want to do. Obviously in Binghamton, in Cornell, in Syracuse, in RIT, but we'll also continue to do this for all of the academic institutions that are in our ecosystem, for more SUNY academic institutions as well, but every single institution that we can find in upstate New York. So anyone that is looking for those academic and business resources and energy storage, that's who this is for. And Candice will show you a little bit of the tool. But we did something in addition to that, right? Because we recognize that enhancing the database is important. Doing good filters is also very important, but is always not easy to find information, right? So you go there and then you're trying to filter out and say, okay, I'm looking for one particular collaborator, and using those filters is sometimes not very easy to do. So we ended up building an AI agent layer on top of this. And in this AI agent, you can go and ask in natural wording questions so that you can get the answers on the resources that you need. So this is also a big change, right? So you can still go and look at the database as you did before, but you can now also go to this AI agent and ask it in natural language questions that can make it a lot easier for you to find the information that you need. In the case that I have here, for example, I took this example from myself, my own previous company. I have a silicon anode company and I'm looking for testing facilities in upstate New York. Who should I contact? And then the agent can give you already the information that you need, whether it's RIT. Well, there's more information coming here. So Candice, please help us show us both the database and then the AI search feature as well.
Great, happy to. I was just finding the unmute button. So, excuse me, let's start with the New York Best database, since that's the order in which we presented it. So from this landing page, some of you already may be familiar, but there's two call to actions here. On the left-hand side is the ability to register your own company in the database if it's not currently there, which is a great opportunity for you to list all sorts of information about your business that people can access. But for purposes of this demo, we'll go straight to the database here. And so this is the screenshot that you saw on Fernando's screen. As he mentioned, on the left-hand side here, you can filter by product, services, academic resources, etc., and select whatever certifications, products. If you're looking for battery packs and modules, you can select as such and find a list of organizations that you can connect with for that. But also, as Fernando mentioned, we have a wealth of academic resources, which talked about connecting with academic researchers in the field who are working on particular things. We can go one step further. We also have things like academic programs or courses listed here. The point is, the essence of this database is meant to capture the breadth of the ecosystem that we service in upstate New York and beyond. So, for example, we can click here into the Battery Academy from Binghamton University, which gives us a bunch of information about the Battery Academy, the website, et cetera, description, as well as a direct link to the program if you're interested in that program. So if you were involved in these sorts of initiatives, academic or service or products, and your information is not listed in the database, you can go ahead and try and register yourself, or feel free to contact us through the contact link in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that. We are constantly adding information to this database. It's on a rolling basis, so we are always trying to enhance it. So that's part one, the database. Part two is the AI agent, the second part of this platform, as Fernando mentioned. Once again, you can access this tool by going to our website, News and Tools, and it's this third option here, the supply chain tool. And I have a couple of prompts that I drafted actually from real examples that people had asked our agent. So I'll copy and paste the first into our chat here, which is, I am an entrepreneur with an idea for a business developing sustainable method to produce battery grade graphite. What would I need to be selected for an engine program, for example? And the agent provides some information here for the user. Your company can get involved by applying for use-inspired R&D, et cetera, et cetera. It might ask, can you provide some contact information for me in order to contact the engine? Or other partners who might help in such a project such as that. For example, you can ask, are there shared lab spaces or pilot lines available, and what's the process or cost to access them? And once again, this information is being pulled from this database here. So again, if you find that you might fit one of these use cases and want to have your information provided in the database, again, reach out to us. But I asked if there are pilot lines or lab spaces, and the agent here gives me a list of resources: NECES, Battery New York, the Testing Center, Intertech, and CHESS, which many of us maybe, I assume, are familiar with. So once again, you can access this tool here, and those links are in the chat if you'd like to take a look at those two tools. I'll go ahead and stop my share now, Fernando.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So just to recap, again, we now have two and a half tools, right? So two tools that we have developed for you. One is our Guardian tool, and we want you to go and really think very thoroughly about your supply chain. Remember that this year, that's going to be a very important topic. Remember that there are a couple of projects running through Congress. Go and Google the Decoupling Act, and you will find some interesting legal projects that might or might not happen, but that are related to us decoupling from Chinese battery industry. So it's important for you to use this Guardian tool to assess your supply chain risk. It is just generally good practice too, right? So maybe you're not buying from China, that's okay, but do you still have the risk of having one specific supplier that if it goes out of business, then you're done. You can't do what you're trying to do. So please use that tool and also let us know how to improve it. We have our ecosystem resource platform, and it's not just the database. Now there's that overlayer, which is that AI agent. Please use it, and please use the AI agent. The more that we use it, the better that it gets. And as Candice was saying, it's actually pulling information. It's not just general information from the web. It's pulling information from that database, right? So we restricted it so that it is a tool specifically so that you find information there. We've also done some testing on ChatGPT and trying to understand generally how those agents work for information. We don't think that they really, if you use ChatGPT or Perplexity, you're not really getting the information about the best resources in New York. So this is how we did it. And we have other projects coming on board too. The next one that I would love to get, if anyone wants to get involved, is we understand that for some of you, understanding your TRL is difficult, right? It's not as straightforward, right? Sometimes you say like, I don't know if I'm a 3 or a 4, or, and I might be a company that has 2 products. Maybe one product is at 3, one product is at 7. So we are trying to figure out how to build tools that assess your TRL and MRL and ARL as well. So, there are, and what are the differences between those? That is already a big topic, right? So what is the difference between your TRL and your ARL? I think there's something that we can do there with the tool as well. and we'll work on tools like that, and let us know any other type of tool that would be useful for your company, for you as an academic, for the whole ecosystem. We're always very open to hearing back from you, getting your feedback, understanding if this is working for you or not, right? Remember to always contact us. So you can contact us at Upstate New York dash engine at Cornell, or you can visit us at the website. Of course, go to the Upstate New York Engine website to use these tools, and you can send us a message there or send us a message through LinkedIn as well. Right. So we're here to help you and guide you, and we hope that these tools are going to be useful for any of you. With that being said, if there are any questions, happy to answer them. And if not, I think that we're very efficient. Let me see if there's some questions. Anyone wants to ask and put it on the chat, please do so. Okay, awesome. No, thank you. Right, so this ecosystem is you. It's really you're the ones that are doing all of the hard work. You're the ones that are out there competing with all of these companies. You're out there commercializing these technologies, and we'll continue to be in touch with all of you. So, Sergio, what is the status? Is that we're reviewing them very closely, and we are. We're getting again the reauthorization for the next 3 years is going um, to happen pretty soon, and then the next phase of the engine will start March 1st, March 1st. Yes, exactly. So we're like a month and a half away from it, but we're already reviewing. Applications for Mega Boost and Super Boost. I've already sent this information to some of you, but this is, I think, very important context, and I'll leave you with this. We see a lot of proposals from separate companies that are actually not separate, right? So one of the things that we're seeing is that a lot of you are going and trying to get contracts from the military or building cells for the military. A lot of you are saying, I need to build a manufacturing line, and I would work with RIT and maybe Battery New York, and I would build a manufacturing line. A lot of you are going out saying, I want to go and sell to NIPA or National Grid. And instead of making all of these ones separate projects, I think that there is a conversation that we need to have more together with several companies on how is it that we build more aggregation so that you all have a good customer. And by the way, the Department of Defense, it is interested in being that lead customer so that you can all have manufacturing resources without spending millions of dollars in equipment, and so that we can get aggregation and then get good projects together. I've already spoken to some of you on that. Ray has spoken to you, some of you, to you as well. And we'll be in touch, letting you know on all of that. But we are reviewing. We're actually talking to clients. We're talking to manufacturers. We're talking to materials suppliers. We're talking to startup companies, and we're putting things together right now. So it is moving in the right direction quite fast. So please, connect with us. So thank you all, and I hope that you have a great week. We'll be in touch.